How you doing, bud?
I am doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Doing amazing. You know what? I'm super glad to be here with you tonight, and I get to, or today, depending on who's tuning in from where. And so
Yes.
I'm super excited to be sharing this stage with you, Luke, and welcome to everybody else who's tuning in from above and beyond. Could be anywhere in the world.
Super excited for everyone to come on today. If you're watching this, make sure to get a notepad ready. I would say have your little notepad, something, your idea journal. This is mine right here. This is my idea journal. So I put everything on my high frequency things, and I'm pumped for today.
hmm So cool part is if everybody, because some people are going to be tuning in live, some people are going to be on replay. Could you drop in the comments right below here, quick? So that we can see where you're checking in from. Are you watching live or are you watching on the replay? And uh, and just know that this is being recorded so that you can check this out anytime because we're here to help you. Hey everybody, my name is Coach Troy, and I get the opportunity to come to you today as an expert on teaching the Thinking to Results program, which was created by Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor is someone who has had an immense impact on my life and has served people literally around the world. Now, unfortunately, Bob passed away in the beginning of February of 2022. And, even though he'll be missed, in spirit, he's still with us. And his program, his teachings will go on indefinitely because the material he teaches and taught is something that is timeless. The exact same principles work for each and every single person, no matter what walk of life you're on. When I first met Bob, I was actually studying to become a certified coach through Tony Robbins. And Tony taught me an immense amount of material, and the amount of studying that triggered in me to be able to keep studying more and more people throughout all walks of life. It just became an addiction, but it also became just such a passion of mine because I could see how it impacted myself and my family and also the people that I do business with. But back to when I met Bob, Bob taught me some of the most amazing things in my life that were actually caught preventing me from getting what I truly wanted. To think about, 10 years ago till now, the transformation I went through. And maybe some of you can relate. Like I literally was, working day and night, trying to do all the things that you thought, you work for, you trade time for money and you try to get ahead and you try to do all these different things. And you're not really sure exactly what it is that you're doing and when you're going to get there. But you have a lot of aspirations, but you're not really clear on where it is you're going and how you're going to do it. Well, the cool part is I went from through that journey and thinking back, it actually had gotten so bad for me. I became addicted to alcohol, addicted to anxiety. I was surrounded by people that just weren't serving me. My health was going bad, and I just wasn't in a place that was going to really be anything extraordinary because I couldn't see myself in the mirror as that, let alone being able to appreciate if anybody else in my life could actually see that in me too. You take that now, you fast forward from not so much a dark, but I'm going to call it just an average place in life, a common theme, but now to a place of, being able to be certified by the guy who actually, helped create exactly the product that I am today. And you take a look at, being able to serve people literally from around the globe. I've had the privilege of working with people from so many countries, which is something that Bob, has worked so hard to do. I remember, not long ago when Bob had said that he had finally achieved his goal and a dream, and that result was to be able to serve people literally in every single country around this globe, and he was able to do that here before the end of his journey. And so you take a look at now I'm able to introduce to you, Luke, who you're gonna get to meet tonight, and also he's somebody who's already achieved so much. For instance, he's became a black belt in Taekwondo at the age of 10. His mother, Robbie, my wife, she is a second dan in Taekwondo, and Luke's brother Everett, he's another rising kidpreneur who's just doing exceptional things in YouTube and different social media platforms. And so we're really looking forward to being able to showcase, not in a way to brag to people, but to show you that we are a product of the product. I'm not worried about getting off calls like tonight or talking to people and then going back to a life that is full of stress and chaos and trying to figure out, how to really show up for my kids again and try to split that time balance thing up. That just doesn't exist for us. So I'm looking really forward to being able to show you this is the material that really made that change for me. It took me from being average to above average. And there's nothing more fulfilling in my life now than being able to showcase some of the most greatest achievements that I've had. And one of those achievements, obviously, is Luke. So I'm going to get Luke to go ahead and introduce yourself and really, explain the journey that you're being a part of and where we're going to go here tonight.
Yes, that sounds amazing. So yeah, my name is Luke Aberly. I'm a 13-year-old entrepreneur. I've started this business with my dad, High Frequency Habits. It's super awesome. We started this business about, say, 8 months ago, and we've been working together a lot. I've been with him on his journey throughout the whole thing. It's been super awesome. And yeah, I'm super excited for you to come on today. Congratulate you for taking the time and coming on tonight, because this is going to be super awesome. We'll be covering a lot of really cool things. Again, like I said, get your notebook ready. This is going to be super awesome. Talk about goal setting, figure out what you truly want in your life, not something that you think would be cool or something that other people tell you should be doing. What you truly want in your life is super important. So we're be covering that today. This is going to be a very impactful session. Everyone who always comes on is like mind blown by what we teach. They're like, this is awesome. We feel like that we should be paying you for this, but it's great. So yeah, this is super awesome. And yeah, let's get into it.
For sure. So, the number one thing is I compare everything that the way the Restart, the Thinking the Results program. It's a 12 module program, and the cool part is tonight we're going to do something really cool. We're going to show you the first chapter of it, which is the most important chapter of it, and that really is creating worthy goals. And tonight we're going to let you hear right from the man himself, Bob Proctor, what is a real worthy goal. And because you have to have goals. And let me ask everybody tonight, as you're writing things down, what is something you really want in your life? I mean, is it a new car? Is it a boat? Is it a vacation? Is it to make a couple of more dollars an hour? What are the things that are your goal? And if you could take a few moments, maybe press pause on this. I don't know how long to keep you paused for. So I'm gonna ask you, reach over to the space bar, and if you're listening live, just write that down quick and take a look, a lot of at what those goals are, and start making yourself up a shopping list. Maybe you want a new computer, or you want to be able to get a new job or a new relationship or new puppy. Maybe you want to, get a little more free time with your family. And, I really want you to start off with that, because where I'm going to go with this is we're going to teach you what worthy goals really are. And then we're going to, describe to you, something that's going to really take it to the next level, maybe have you thinking a little bit differently. And so what I'd be curious about is, what it is that you want in your life. And try to look at it from a point of, what is something that you want in your life if we removed your kids, your spouse, the money, the job, any responsibilities that you have. And if you could just do anything you want. And if you don't want to write that down, that's fine too. But just make a little bit of a shopping list. And if you could have anything in the world that Troy and Luke could send you today, what would that be? And then we'll get into it with Bob, about a 18-minute video, right, Luke? And we'll go through there and show them that, and then we'll come back here and we'll ask a few more questions. But the principle of this workshop really is to get you thinking about something that you really want in your life. And for myself, for Luke, and for really any client, no matter what age, what walk of life, what religion, what race, what income level, whatever. I've asked literally thousands of people now, what is it you really want in your life and business? And I'm curious. And when most people say, and I say, do you have a goal? Most people don't know how to answer you. I've asked people in their businesses, what is the business goal? Most people is just to simply make lots of money. And I don't think that answer is good enough. And I think that's why our results are mediocre, is because we really haven't thought about that question. What is that goal, say, for a month from now? Heck, for most of us, we didn't even know what our goal was for today. But if we looked at our goal for a month from now, maybe 6 months, a year, maybe 10 years, give that some thought. We'll get into the first chapter of Thinking into Results, and we'll come back and we'll show you that for sure. Do you have anything you want to add, Luke, while I'm grabbing this?
Yeah, Nothing really from me, but yeah, this video is going to be super powerful for you. It's one of my favorite videos of them. I've watched it like 13 times. So yeah, take a look at this and you're going to love it.
Luke, I think you're past 13 times there, big feller. Okay, we'll get into it.
Hello there and welcome. I want to congratulate you for taking part in this program, Thinking into Results. You know, you probably think this just has to do with your work, but it really doesn't. This has to do with your family. It has to do with your social life, your health. It has to do with your life. I began studying this material close to 50 years ago. My life has changed so dramatically. I live in a healthy body. I'm happy. I'm wealthy. I have friends all over the world. And I have business all over the world. And it's all because of this material. You have absolutely no idea where this is going to take you. And when we talk about results, let's understand this. It's what we think that ultimately manifests as results. Now, that may seem like a bit of an exaggeration or maybe even a fairy tale to you at this point. But as you start to study it, you're going to realize it's not an exaggeration and it's not a fairy tale. It's real. So take this program seriously. Your leaders are going to give you something that you're going to be grateful for the rest of your life. I am forever grateful every day to have this information because you see, I'm in charge of me. I'm in charge of my world, and you're going to take charge of your world. You'll no longer be a victim of circumstance or a victim of any kind because you're going to take responsibility for your life and the results you get. We never have to blame. We never have to look at anybody else. And we are in control of how we think, how we feel, how we act, and therefore the results we get. You're going to start loving how you spend your days when you've got thinking into results in your pocket and in your mind. Enjoy it.
Hello, I'm Sandy Gallagher, your partner on this journey, Thinking into Results. When I first met Bob Proctor, I was already a successful business attorney, and I thought my life couldn't get much better, but it did. My life has expanded dramatically. I've learned a lot from Bob since we first met. He got me to shift my thinking and see the relationship of my mind to my behavior and my results. Bob Proctor is widely considered one of the greatest teachers in the world on the topic of human potential and growth. He's worked with many of the top companies around the world, from banks to airlines to insurance companies to computer giants like IBM. Working with Bob generates phenomenal results. One of the most valuable concepts that Bob taught me is the importance of setting goals. Not just any goal, not a goal you know how to achieve. I'm talking about a goal, a dream, a vision, something you think, something you know, in fact, is beyond your experience today. Because the true purpose of a goal is to help you grow in your awareness of yourself and of your team. What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? What are your goals? Let's see how you can begin thinking in a new and powerful way and begin discovering your true purpose in life. Are you ready?
The lesson that we're going to do right now could have a greater impact on your life than anything else. It certainly did on mine. You receive a little goal card. This is where you sit down and write out what you want on a card. And then you carry it loose in your purse or your pocket. Now on one side we've got here, change is inevitable, but personal growth is a choice, and it is. Do you know that you could wander up and down the streets of any city, anywhere in the world, and ask one person after another, what is their goal? And they'll look at you, and odds are pretty good they'll say, what do you mean? And if by chance you find someone that has a clearly defined goal, ask if they've got it in writing. And again, odds are pretty good they won't. If you decide what you want, and you write it on the card, and you carry it with you, I guarantee you it must happen. It absolutely must happen in your life. Now, why do we have goals? See, the average individual would say we have a goal to get more. You know, get a better house, get a bigger house, get a boat, get more money. No. That may be a result of the goal. You may, you know, accumulate more in your life and nicer and better things. But the real purpose of a goal is to grow. It causes you to draw something out of yourself that you didn't even know was there. Now, when we set a goal, we're going after something we want. And if you know how to reach it, it's the wrong goal. Now, that probably sounds pretty silly. When you set a goal, you're going after something you want. And if you know how to reach it, it's probably the wrong goal. You're going sideways. I always mention that goals fall into three categories. I refer to it as A, B, and C. A-type goals are doing something you already know how to do. And I use an example in a program that I wrote about a young man that came to me and he asked me if I'd talk to him about his goal. And I said, sure, what's your goal? He said, I want to get a new car. And I said, well, that's okay. I said, what kind of a car do you want? He said, a new Pontiac. I said, well, Pontiac's a nice car. I've had a Pontiac. And I said, what are you driving now? And he said, a Pontiac. Really? I said, how long have you had it? And he said, 4 years. I said, how old's the Pontiac? He said, 4 years old. And I said, then what you're telling me is that you have had a new Pontiac that you bought 4 years ago. You bought it new. He said, that's right. And I said, that's not a good goal, because you've known for 4 years how to do that. There's going to be no growth attached to it. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't get a new Pontiac, but it would not constitute a goal. A goal is something that you're going to go after you've never done before. Now, when people move away from A-type goals, they generally go to B-type goals. And that's where they sit down and they gather all the information they've got, all the resources they've got, and they say, if all these things happen, then I could accomplish this. And they make a plan. They've got an absolutely beautiful plan. They've got the plan, and if all these things happen, then I can accomplish this. This is what they think they can do. You see, the A-type is what they know they can do. B is what they think they can do. Now, do you know that there's no inspiration in going after something like that? Absolutely none. And if you're going to really accomplish something, you're going to have to be inspired. You're going to have to pull on something that you haven't pulled on before. I mean, it's going to have to come from inside. See, people go after B-type goals, they get going and they get bored, they're not inspired, and so they quit, they give up. Now, the C-type goal is wants. And what you want, I'm talking about what you really want. Most people say, I don't know what I want. I don't believe that. I think you do know what you want. I think you're rejecting it before you give it any serious thought. To decide what you want, you've got to sit down and totally relax. And then you have to let your imagination wander. When you're going after wants, you're dealing with fantasy. See, the one, you're going after what you know. The other one, you're going after what you think you can do. And the wants is fantasy. Now, we have been conditioned as kids that fantasy is just for little kids. You don't fantasize. You've got to know how things are going to happen. But you see, you and I are the only creature on the planet, so far as we know, that can fantasize. Ed Hillary fantasized that he would stand on top of the world and he climbed Mount Everest. The Wright brothers, a couple of ordinary bicycle mechanics, they fantasized they'd introduce us to a new kingdom, and they did. Now think of this for a moment. What do you fantasize? See, as a little kid you could fantasize, and your mother and dad let you do that because it got you out under their feet. You'd sit down in front of the kitchen cupboards with pots and pans and God knows only what you did with it. But then you went to school. Bob, pay attention. You see, your mind's wandering. Will you quit looking out the window and listen to what I'm telling you? And you see, we'd get punished, and pretty soon we stopped fantasizing. We put our imagination away and we stopped using it. Do you know, Napoleon Hill said the imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world has ever known. Don't you find it strange that we have great, huge companies, big multinationals, with small creative departments? We have people wandering around saying, well, I'm not really creative. Writers are creative, musicians are, but I'm really not creative. Everyone is creative. Creativity comes from the root creator, which is within. Everybody's creative. It's a matter, are you expressing your creativity? Well, don't let people steal your dream. When you sit down and decide what you want, you won't know how you're going to get it,
The fun is in finding out how you're going to do it. When I set a goal, if it doesn't sort of scare me, I know I'm on the wrong track. See, if you know how you do it, you're going to go sideways. You've got to build a fantasy. You take the fantasy and you move it from fantasy to a theory. You keep playing with it. And you go from fantasy to a theory, and you take and you build an image, and just follow the pyramid that we've got here for you. And you turn it into a theory. Now that is when we're giving our fantasy some serious consideration. We're starting to use our reasoning mind, and we're starting to give this some serious thought. Now before we can turn the theory into a goal, we have to ask ourselves a couple of things. Am I able to do this? Am I able? Well, if we believe everything we've been taught by both science and theology, the only two sources of reference we have to go to, we have deep reservoirs of talent. We have infinite potential. Absolutely, I'm able. I don't know how, but I'm able. The second question we have to ask, am I willing? Am I willing to pay the price? Am I willing to do what I have to do to get to where I'm going? See, Ed Hillary had to go to Nepal in 1951, in 1952, and 1953. No one had ever been to the top of Mount Everest. Everyone in the world told him it couldn't be done. Anybody that tried died. But he kept going back. He was willing to do whatever was required, and he got to the top of that mountain. Have you any idea how those two young bicycle mechanics, the Wright brothers, were ridiculed? Told to quit wasting time? Have you any idea how many times people laughed at Edison when he said what he was going to do? He was going to make this incandescent light. Do you know he failed about 10,000 times? He was willing to do that. See, failing at something doesn't make you a failure. You're only a failure when you stop. You could ask, am I able to do this? Yeah, I'm able. Am I willing? Yeah, I'm willing. I am willing to pay the price. At that second, your theory turns into a goal. Now, as you get emotionally involved in the goal, you're going to find that your emotional involvement is going to change your behavior. Yet you're going to find as your behavior changes, the results start to change. And your theory turns into a fact. And once you reach the goal, it turned into a fact. That puts you in a position to build bigger and better fantasies. Now, let's back up a bit. How do you decide what you want? See, that's a pretty big idea. You've got to sit down as an individual and start writing all your wants down. Make it a shopping list. See, I think there's two goals people should have. They should have a personal goal, and then they should have a corporate goal. You might want to sit down with your peers in your department and say, what could we accomplish in this department? It could be the sales department. It might be, as a group, collectively, take the sales to a point that would shock the executives in the company. Yet could be in the machine shop. Let's make this place the most effective machine shop in the world. Yet could be in the accounting department. Let's make sure everything's right on tap. They're goals. And as we work towards them, we unify our energies. We work together, but we're working towards a point. See, when people are working towards something, they're alive. If they're just working, they don't have any fun. So we've got to sit down and we've got to decide, what do I really want? And start to make a list. You're capable of doing anything. And what we're really doing is raising our level of conscious awareness. And you're going to find when you decide on the thing on the list that you want more than anything, that becomes the star you're shooting at. That's what's written on the card. That becomes the goal. It might be an income, it might be a position, it might be a new home, it might be a trip. That becomes the goal. Yeah, that's what you work towards. And you're forever trying to become more effective so you can raise your consciousness and you become aware of how to do it. It's the same in a department. We have a masterminding session, a brainstorming session. How can we make this department more effective than it is? Now, you're going to find possibly someone say, well, I'm not doing that. Well, then that's okay. They're not part of the group. Don't let another person dictate how you're going to live.
Don't let conditions or circumstance dictate. It has nothing to do with what's going on outside of you. It's what's going on inside. George Bernard Shaw said that people are always blaming circumstance for where they are. He said, I don't believe in circumstance. The people that get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. So you absolutely refuse to let anything that's going on outside stop you. Do you know, there's a cute story about the Maharishi and yoga when he was taking his transcendental meditation to the world, or planning to. Someone asked him, well, where's all the money going to come from? He said, wherever it is right now. See, nothing's created or destroyed. If nothing's created or destroyed, everything's already here, if not in one state or another. The way to fly airplanes has always been here. Internet, it's always been here. We just weren't aware of how to do it. And as we raise our conscious awareness, we've got it. Nothing is created or destroyed. All science and all theology have taught us that for years. Now, when we really start to understand that, we live in an ocean of motion. We're living in a constant evolution of change. But remember when I said personal growth is a choice. You've got to have a goal. You've got to wake up in the morning and get excited. I'm working towards my goal. That's what I'm doing right now, is I'm creating this program with you. I'm working towards a goal. I have a business partner, Sandy Gallagher. She wants to build this worldwide, the corporate division. And so that's what we're doing. That's what we're working towards. That's why we're spending time here right now, building this program. So help you. See, the only way to reach the goal is to provide greater service. And as you provide greater service, you're going to grow. You're going to move ahead. Things inside of you are going to start to happen. An individual that doesn't have a goal is lost. They don't know where they're going. Can you imagine going on a trip and you don't know where you're going? Somebody say, well, where are you going to go? I don't know, west. Where? I mean, you could be going around the world and just going around the world and around the world. Well, where are you going? I'm going west. Well, when you get there, you still can go west. Imagine driving out of your driveway. You've got no destination. Which way would you turn? You see, we're goal-seeking organisms, every one of us. Have you ever watched a little baby? The baby's goal is to walk. It falls, it bangs its head, it cries, it bleeds, but it doesn't stay down. It gets up and it gets going. And pretty soon it's, look, Ma, I'm walking. Then they get on a bike. And the trick is to balance it, learn how to ride. Pretty soon it's, look, Ma, no hands. But do you know what your goal is? Your goal, your real purpose in life is to grow. You want to sit down and ask yourself, what do you really love to do? That's what you're going to get good at. That's what your purpose is going to be all about. That's what your goal is all about. Move toward what you want. Have a personal goal, have a corporate goal. Now, your personal goal and your corporate goal in your department should be consistent with the corporate goal that the executive team set. So you want to make sure, as you go towards the big one, that all your little ones will fall into place. And I guarantee you, you'll set something on fire inside of you that there's nothing like it. Goal achievers are productive individuals. They're happy, they're productive, they're prosperous. They're the ones that make the world change. Don't listen to people that tell you why something can't be done. Don't listen to people that tell you the economy is controlling them. You control the economy. You're God's highest form of creation. Steve Bowe, who was a vice president with the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, said one time something that I have never forgot. He said, God's gift to us is more talent and ability than we'll ever hope to use in our lifetime. Our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as we can in this lifetime. I like that. You might want to take and memorize that. It's done me a lot of good. Now I've shared it with you. Set your goal. Get it on your card. Bury it in your mind. Tell yourself, I'm able and I'm willing, and then go and do it. This is Bob Proctor. Thank you.
Boom. What'd you think, Luke? Oh, you're on mute there, pal.
Sorry, that video is awesome. I love that video so much. It makes so much sense. Something that he says in there that I totally agree with is, what if you didn't, like he said, we're goal-seeking organisms. Like, what would we do if we didn't have a goal and we get out of our driveway, right? Well, where would we turn? Like, goals, people, I think people don't really think of goals that importantly, but people underestimate them a lot because you need goals to know where you're going. It's like your roadmap to where you are going. If you don't have a goal, well, you're just working. You're not doing anything. You're not going anywhere. If you say, well, I want to start a business and hustle, what are you hustling towards? What do you work towards, right? How many people, who do you want to help? Who's your target audience? How much money do you want to make, right? All these different things that come together, you really have to dial that in and figure out what you really want. Like you said, something this is my favorite, but he also said, you'll create a shopping list of what you really want, right? Write down, if you could have I always say this, picture yourself in a white room. You can put anyone in there and you can take anyone out. You can have your family in there. You can have your family, just you in there. You can have your dog in there with you. You can have whoever you want in there with you, and you can just have it by yourself. But what you can do is picture a white room and picture you putting the things on what you'd like that life, that dream life for you to look like. I want my business over here making this amount of money, for me to only work this amount of hours with helping these amount of people over here. And then over here, I want to have, my dream sports car and my dream house or whatever over here. And then over here, I want to take these vacations and stuff like that. So having all these different things and having a list of what you truly want is super important. Like I said, have your notebook that you write your ideas down, write your things down. Like we talk about too, writing your goals down 10 times a day is super important. You can do that in that notebook. And oops, knock my computer, but it's super important. Just get your goal down, get it straight, and figure out what you really want. And sometimes it doesn't happen right at once. Sometimes you're not going to get your goal in 2 minutes. Sometimes it's going to take multiple days. There's sometimes for me where I'm losing, like where I'm laying in bed, waiting for that thing, trying to figure out that goal, creating calculations, like he said, with B-type goals, and try to picture what that goal really looks like. Coming up with that is super important.
I totally agree. And, like Tony Robbins would say, where focus goes, energy flows. And when you know that that's your goal, it's just like being in an airplane. We know already a month from now, you can book a flight and you'll already know what time the wheels will touch the tarmac in the location you're flying to. And really your life has to be like that if you really want to be able to achieve the success that you want. And I think I think so here's my question for everybody though. So to make this workshop work, I think everybody gets the idea that having goals is what makes it exciting. When you have a goal that's written up on the fridge, or it's written in the boardroom at the office, and people know that, hey, I want this much income, or I want these goals, or here's what I'm working to in my life. And you have transparency, not only for yourself, but for the people who are hired to help you get them. And you also help your employees get them, and you help your family. Rather than judge someone else's goals or judge yours based on what someone else's opinion is, come up with those goals, be transparent, and get excited about them. When you talk to your kids, instead of telling them that, I don't know if you're ready for that, figure out how to get it. Look at what everybody's mind has, and rather than create limitations or security, look for what's possible. And so what I would say is, at the beginning of the call, I asked everybody to make a little bit of a shopping list of what it is you really want. So now if you take what Bob taught you and you said, and you looked at it and you said, so is that really a goal, or is it something, or the things that I write down before, is it something I know I can do or think I can do? Because if it was simply to get, a $5,000 better income, and you could do that, or you think you can, a lot of people will write down that they want to lose weight or they want to get into shape. You can do that if you work hard at it, but if you're 280 pounds now and you want to be 160, maybe that's something you're not sure you can do. You don't think you can, and you don't know you can. So maybe that's your big fantasy, is maybe you want to go into a 40K marathon, or maybe you want to go from, 60 grand a year to, 400,000 a year, or maybe 4 million a year. I don't know. But I've watched people go from 14,000 to 2 million. I know it's possible, and I've seen it even go higher. And no, it's not just the lottery. It's when you put your mind to something and you really decide, because you see what happens is, even on the income goal, once you decide what it is you really are going to achieve, if you write down 150,000, you'll automatically start, and you really become obsessed about that number. You'll start to turn away things that are keeping you from that goal, and you'll actually start to do things that are going to get you there. So that would be my question for you today is, as you're watching this, pause it and really look at, what is that crazy goal For us, we want to serve 500 people this year with Thinking into Results program. Is it possible? I don't know. All I know is that's my vision. It's my goal. It's what Luke and I are going to do. And we've decided it as a team. So not only do I see myself doing it and holding up a plaque from the Proctor Gallagher Institute, 500 people, but I also see me sharing that stage with Luke and with my family, saying, we did it. How's it all going to work out? Don't know all the details yet, but that's what we're committed to. We're going to do it. We're going to do everything we can to get there. If I only decided to just I hope I can do it, then I won't get there. I've decided that's what's going to happen. And so, as you look at that, what is that must? What is something that would just totally blow your mind? Rather than getting a new Honda Civic, getting a Maserati, right? It doesn't always have to be about money, but I think it has to be about something. Maybe you want to become friends with somebody really cool that you've always wanted to go on a date with, or, take out to dinner and just get to know them. And I think, there's some really cool things out there that you can definitely do. Rio wanted to meet Mark Victor Hansen. That was one of our goals. And we met Mark and developed a friendship with him. And, it's those things that when you put that intention out there that you can really, start to really have some greatness in your life. And that's when things really take a change. So don't look for the limitations, look for the win. And, I want to explain, if you did that now and, sit back and like Luke said, what does that feel like? What does it taste like to drink that champagne or apple juice or pop or water? I don't know, coffee. As you're sitting there on that park bench looking around at your new life. And, what do you hear? What's your family saying? What does it feel like to be high-fiving each other and look in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? I did it. I'm living the life of my dreams. And, thinking about all the things, before that, in your first chapter of your life, if you will, what might have been limiting you. So, really think about that. What do you smell? What do you hear? What do you taste? Everything. Just really feel what that feels like to go after what you've decided is truly the outcome. And as soon as you hear yourself saying, yeah, but Troy, guys, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. My family won't do this. I'm not asking for any of that. I'm talking about what do you want? We'll figure out the rest after. So what does that look like? Oh, go ahead, Luke, sorry.
Yeah, it's like you're saying, it's all about your senses, right? Coming up with that, figuring out what that new house smells like or that new car smell, right? All those different things. Like you said, you're saying before, it doesn't have to be about money or doesn't have to be, about having the biggest, fanciest car if that's not what you want, but having a goal that pushes you, that really tests you, right? It pushes you instead of just, going for a car that's a little bit more expensive, going from a Honda Civic to a Honda Passport, something like that. Right? Really picturing yourself growing and excelling, right? You really want to just come up with goals that, just like Bob Proctor said, the guy he met who said, I want a new Pontiac, but he's had a new Pontiac for years, right? Coming up with goals that scare you. I always say that. Come up with goals that truly scare you, right? Whatever that is. Maybe it's your relationship you want to make. Maybe you're right here and you want to make a relationship with Bill Gates. I'm just going to use an example, right? That may seem really big. He's really up there and he's hard to contact, right? But when you have that goal and you picture what that looks like, right? Coming up with that, when you have your goal dialed in, when you're focused on your goal, when you're obsessed with your goal, you will figure out every way and any way to achieve that goal. That's what happened with me when I had my goal, right? You just start figuring out every way and you start pushing towards it and you start becoming very resourceful, just like my dad says, of getting your goal, right? When you're sitting there and you're like, okay, how do I get this goal? You're like thinking of every way. Okay, well, to achieve this amount of money, I can do this, this, and this. You start drawing it out. You start doing all these different things. It works really, really well. And just getting resourceful with that and becoming super obsessed with your goal. First thing you have to do, be obsessed with your goal. And that's the biggest thing.
It makes you ask more questions, doesn't it? And you start telling people, you get excited. And when you tell people what it is you're doing, that's what's there. And that's what's so cool about the Thinking into Results program. And, if you will, what I want to explain to you is as you go through this and you take that goal, most people, all people know exactly what it is that they need to do. They just don't know how to do it. And we cover that. We go through on the next chapter. So how to close that knowing and doing gap. Why do we keep doing things in a certain way even though we know that that's not going to get us our outcome. And Luke and I are going to teach you that. We're also going to, show you exactly why your mind, how the conscious mind affects the subconscious mind, and working with a little thing called paradigms. Paradigm, by the way, is defined as a multitude of beliefs and habits. Those beliefs and habits are programmed into at a young age. That's what's so cool about teaching this with Luke. I have a lot of bad habits, a lot of views, a lot of stigmas and opinions and all these things that have been programmed by different people, my family, my parents, my elders or mentors, or all these people have taught me certain things that are in my mind today. Nothing against anything of there, because they learned it from people before them too. But you continuously impregnate that on your mind, and that's the type of results you get. Cool part is I'm going to show you exactly how to change that, how to develop new paradigms. And we're going to work with Bob on that as well. You're going to come into a spot where all of a sudden, whoa, this is getting a little bit scary. I've never been here. And we're going to approach what's called the terror barrier. Most people hit that. They start to feel a little bit of success, and then they're not sure how to get through that wall. And we're going to teach you that too, and how to bring in the right people into your life. How to remove and naturally be able to figure things out, what's working for you and what's not, and how to really get rid of a lot of things that just aren't serving you. So it's a process that takes literally 12 modules, but the Thinking to Results program is what literally changed my life. I think of one girl, Luke. When she came to me to take the program, she said I'd make $55,000 a year. A big stretch for her was going to make 60. And you have to appreciate she's 22 years old. We came up with a goal of 110. And to my surprise, she took every piece of action. That scared the heck out of her. She was so scared. She's like, Troy, there's no way. And then she started to really figure out, okay, what it was going to happen because of reaching that goal. I'm proud to say that girl last year made $114,000. So I know that it works. I know that for myself too. I had a lot of doubt, a lot of questions in myself and my abilities. And when I mastered this, I broke the $400 million in sales mark. I was able to see a life outside of alcohol and addiction, and understand why my limiting focus and my language, and my actions were aligned with a goal that wasn't even really real. It was a goal that was based on what everybody else was doing. And then the cool part is involving my family with this. And that's what makes it really, really interesting. I've watched some of the most largest businesses now in the world be able to adapt this material and get results that exploded through the pandemic or other things that were maybe playing against them. So I want you to look in the mirror. Are the results in your bank account? Are the results on the bathroom scale? Are the results that, and the friends that you have that are involved with you today, your relationships, are they what you really want? Because if they're not, watch this video again and define what it is you truly want. You don't have to take my word for it. Out of all of the people that I've studied alongside either myself or with Luke, every single person that I've asked, it has been designed to want to grow. If you're not growing, you're dying, and in between is extremely boring. But for most people, that's what they do, literally just survive.
And let's
take a look at your family. Yeah.
It's like when you're growing just little bits just to survive. No, we don't want to survive out here. We want to explode. We want to
thrive.
Succeed, right? That's how you get into the top, where right now it's 1% or 5% of people right now in the world, right? Top 5% of people right now in the world are making 95% of the money, right? So coming up with that, and they have goals, they have aspirations, they have connections, and they have what they truly want in their life. And so coming up with a powerful goal, involving your family in it, that's super powerful. That we, my dad and me have a business together. My brother has his YouTube channel, and he's gone through the Thinking to Results program. My mom has her own business too, right? Everyone is all in this together and doing their own things and helping each other out and creating a thriving business and a thriving life that they truly desire.
Exactly. And your goal doesn't have to be anything that's similar to us. Your goal just has to be a goal, something that, would just really just be amazing.
Something that when you wake up in the morning and you look at your goal and you say, this is my goal, and you wake up and you get excited about it. Something that makes you
Yeah.
pumped up when you wake up and you're like, I'm working towards my goal today. This is my goal. And it gets you excited, it gets you pumped up to start working towards your goal that way, right? If it's a super big goal, right? Working little bits towards your goal, it creates huge changes, and small habits can create big changes.
Exactly. And, I hope everybody gets the idea of what it is we're doing. Because, if I was to ask you tomorrow after you went through this exercise, what is your goal? My hope is that you could come to us and say, you know what, Troy, I'm so happy and grateful that at the end of the year, I've earned this amount of money. Or I'm so happy and grateful that, my family and I went to Disney World, or I'm so happy and grateful that I was able to shed that 20 pounds and become this weight, or maybe I was able to, move away from a different stage of something that was limiting you in your health, or get rid of a habit. Um, I think of so many people that I've worked with where, basically they're just so happy, they can say to me, so happy and grateful that I'm living my life as a non-smoker. Not that they've quit or they're a quitter, but they literally label themselves, I am a non-smoker. I'm a non-drinker. And my life is so clean and I earn money in infinite ways. And I think that's what's so cool is when you have that on your goal card. And the last part I'll leave people with is, so you get it, you've got your goal figured out and you're able to write it down. We can send you a copy of a goal card too. Just put it in the comments and tell us you want one, and we'll give you a template, and then you can use that. But I think what's so cool is then you take that list and go start the same process over with a shopping list, and ask your family. Go ask your children. If you don't have children, or a spouse, or a partner in your life, go ask them, what do you want in your life? And you know what? If anything, and you're confused about your situation or your life, go find out from that person who works at that your favorite store or restaurant. What is it you want in your life to achieve? And when the waitress or waiter at the restaurant says, I want to do this, and ask them, well, why haven't you started? Most of them will be confused. They'll say, well, I don't have time, or they'll always have some weird excuse. And it's because they're not willing and committed and able to do it. And when you decide that, what, today is the first day of chapter 2 in my life, I'm going after that goal. And you know what? I'm going to get really serious about it. I'm going to become obsessed about it. And I'm going to just focus on it. I'm not going to worry about what to start and stop doing. I'm just going to focus on the goal for the next few weeks. I'm going to pick a date as to when I'm going to achieve that goal. And you watch the rest. The rest will fall into place. Don't worry about what you're doing or not doing. Just obsess about the goal and watch how your mind makes the change happen.
Yes, I totally agree. This is super powerful. Let me know in the comments if you guys have enjoyed this. This is super powerful. And something I want to leave a little note I want to leave you guys off on is something I always say, 2 words, just start. You know what's going to happen. You don't know what the outcome's going to be. But when you just start, that's the hardest thing to do. It's just like, think of yourself jumping into a pool of water, right? Once you get into that pool and it's cold, but once you're in there, start warming up, you start getting more used to it. It's the hardest part of jumping in, right? So even if your goal isn't coming up with your goal, but even if you don't have a perfectly nailed down map of what that's going to look like, just start doing it. Just start executing and working on that goal, because that's the most powerful thing you can do. And so many people, what they do is they keep doing their fantasizing is really good. Actually, I do that all the time for my goal and getting realigned. But some people, they keep trying to plan out things where they procrastinate doing their goal. They're like, well, right now I have to wait for this thing to do, or I want to, I want to get 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Well, first I have to wait till the studio opens up and I can get the studio, I can get this camera, this microphone has to ship in. And they keep creating excuses and procrastinating. And that's why they're not achieving their goals, because they're not starting. So the best thing you can do right now is just start.
Exactly. And you'll be inspiring to so many people around you. So, what I want you to do is take a look at that. If you want to talk more about the Thinking into Results program and really learn how to implement this in your life, please reach out. We'd love to hear from you, and send us a message. Get a hold of us, and we really look forward to being able to do that for you. Again, it's a 12-part program, and we will ensure the results are guaranteed as long as you play full out. So I'm super excited to be a part of that with you. And yeah, I want to thank Bob Proctor again. God bless him, because without him, our life would not be like this. The things that I've been able to learn and execute in my life are amazing. And I get to inspire people like Luke. I started off the beginning of the call with the screen big on Luke because of one reason. My big reason isn't money. It isn't health or wealth or relationships. My reason is because I want to make sure where I feel the best is when my children are doing their best. So if you're wondering why the screen started off small with me, I feel dead confident in where I am. I don't need to live in some, made up belief. My pride is sitting right beside me, where I get to work with Luke, I get to work with Everett, my wife, and live where we want and do what we want. And not everybody likes the mountains, or a bunch of trees around them, or certain things in their life, but everybody's got something in their life that they want, and it doesn't matter where you live on this planet. I've studied enough people and worked with people literally in so many countries already. Really grateful for it, and I know that people all have that need. So again, enough about us, but it's about you. And you get to decide. For some people, this was the greatest call in the world. For some, this might not have been that great at all. But the good part is I know that the few people that will take this to the next level are going to take time. They're going to write out their goals. They're going to play the video again. They're going to listen to Bob 1 or 2 or 10 more times. And I encourage you, listen to that video 7 days in a row. Put on your headphones, play it for your friends and family, and ask them what they want. And the people that are going to win are going to really implement. They're going to reach out, and they're going to want to take it to the next level, because that's what I did. And I'm so thankful that I did. And every single person who doesn't will go into exactly where it was today or the day before that. And you'll have the results that you have. And I don't know, maybe you're completely content, and I'm not looking down, but I'm just saying there's a whole nother level of world out there. Please decide where it is you want to be. Grateful for you. The part that I would love to hear is just some feedback as to how this worked out for you. Listening to us talk. And I would just absolutely love the opportunity to jump on a call with anybody and just really talk to them and see how else it is that we can help you take your life to a level that I hope that's in your fantasy.
Totally. Yes. Thank you everyone so much for coming on tonight. Again, leave us some feedback or some, key takeaways, some nuggets that you got from this that you're like, wow, I really like that point, right? It helps us and gives us some cool tips on that. So yeah, thank you everyone so much for coming on tonight.
You betcha. Thanks so much, Luke. Appreciate you, bud.
Thank you, Dad.
And I will talk to you and everybody else in the next one. Bye for now.